First of all, thanks. It's an honor for me to be here speaking to all of you. I know we were all supposed to be in Orlando, but in life, we got to just move forward, and that's what we're doing here. I want to thank the Rockstar team. You guys are doing such a fantastic job. One of the things I respect most about what you're doing is you work very hard at creating a system that is something that everyone can do. And that's something I think is great, because if you really understand the power of a system, you'll start to understand that the system starts working for you. You're not working for the system. So the more you understand the system, the more you understand the benefits of the system, the more you duplicate that system, it starts working for you instead of you working for it. So I'm really glad that you guys do that. And I think it really shows up in all the growth that you guys have experienced. Also, I want to say, I listened to Harsh speak. I loved his message. Everything he was talking about was fantastic. Listening to Leslie Lockhart and Kelby Smith, as I'm just listening to them two, it was reminding me of when I got involved in this industry. And I want to just give you just a 2-minute, how we started ACN. When I was 24 years old, I was introduced to this industry of network marketing. It wasn't ACN, obviously, because ACN wasn't even created yet. But the first direct sales company that I had joined, they were actually selling water filtration and air filtration systems that you would actually bring to people's homes. It was a very expensive business to join. This is back in 1989, maybe early 1990. The entry price to join that company was about $5,000 US plus tax. So everyone that joined had to spend somewhere between $5,000 to $6,000. And that was just to get involved in that company. Just imagine that cost in 1989, what that would actually be today. It's almost like having everyone join at $25,000 when you think of how money changes over time. But that's what it cost. And I remember that even though the concept made sense, and I fell in love with the concept of direct sales, we realized early on that that particular model just didn't work, because most people could not afford to enter a business at that level. And even if they did find a way, we all know that if somebody doesn't make it, that's going to be that would be a big hit on someone. And that's why when we started ACN, we fell in love with obviously the concept of direct sales, but we fell in love with what we were doing with ACN, because we wanted to be the first company or the premier company to bring the concept of direct sales and marry it with the product of services. And we love that because, services is basically reoccurring revenue. And we were able to create a concept that would create reoccurring commissions and reoccurring residuals. Now, we all know there's no guarantee that if you get a customer today that they're going to stay on for life. We know that that's not the case, but we all know that customers that do get on, there's a large percentage that never go away. Some may come, some may leave, and some may even come back. But in all reality, they're paying these bills every single month, which is going to create a residual income for you. And that's what we fell in love with in the early years. And that's why we did what we did, because to us, that's what creates the real opportunity for people to combine income with freedom. And, I can't tell you how many countless stories over the last 30 years we've heard where somebody would say that maybe a family member got sick or something happened to their child, and they literally had to stop working. And they said if they stopped working at any other type of career or job, their income would stop flowing, where ACN always sent that residual check and it changed their life forever. So you really have to know why you're doing this. You have to have a big goal, and you have to obviously really buy into not only ACN, but you've got to buy into the system that all of you guys are working, because as you guys really come together and band together and do that, it's going to put all of you in a position where you can win. Now, the hardest part of our company, I'm going to tell you, is the beginning. When you're first getting started, that's the hardest part. And here's why. Because you don't have any customers yet, and you don't have a team. So in the beginning, it seems like you're really working hard because you're trying to create that. But there'll be a day that comes over time that one day you'll look back and you say, wow, I've got, thousands of, team members, on my team. And you're going to be looking at how many orders are coming in every single day, every single week, every single month. And it's not by your efforts, it's by the team's efforts. And that's when that's when the light bulb is going to go on, and you can say, I get it. This is why I put the time in. This is what it was all about, building the team. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Are you going to have good days and bad days? Yes. Will there be times you want to quit? Absolutely. But if you just stay the course, ACN is going nowhere, guys. That means if you just stay the course, you never know when you're going to find that one person that is going to explode your organization. And when that finally takes place, you're going to sit back and you're going to go, whoo, you're going to find yourself working less and less and less, but yet you're earning more and more and more. We all got to get there. This business is extremely fun when you get on the other side of money, but you got to put in the work, you got to put in the time. And when it happens for you, great. But the only way that you can really lose is if you quit or walk away before it's your time to really benefit. So I wanted to mention that before I get started. But listen, I have an opportunity to do a little bit of training. I'm going to go through some slides. I'm going to go through these slides rather fast because the goal is for you to just understand a concept. That's my only goal. I want you to kind of have a bird's eye view of what we're all supposed to do if you see yourself as a leader in this business. Because if you see yourself as a leader, the first thing a leader wants is to be in full control of their destiny. Leaders want to be in control. And there's a lot of times when people join our business, they don't feel in control in the beginning, right? Because they don't understand the model yet. They don't understand the compensation plan yet. You know, they're just learning the process of inviting. They're just learning the process of getting a customer. And in the beginning, just like everything new, it's a little awkward. So you don't really feel like you're in control when you first get started. But as you start learning all the different pieces, you'll find that as you're learning a whole bunch of information, you'll reduce it to like a narrow lane. You say, okay, this makes sense. All I have to do is just this, and this, daily, weekly, monthly, and my business is going to, grow. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about it from that lane. And I also want to point it out that any person who's listening to me now can step up and be a leader for your team. A lot of times people think that leadership is connected to income or connected to a position in ACN. Like you think you have to be an RD or an RVP or an SVP to be considered a leader. That's not true. Leadership is a trait. It isn't a position and it isn't money. And remember this, when you think of the word leadership, we always think that that means you have to have a following, right? Leadership is creating a following. So for some people, when they think about the word leadership, all they're thinking about in the beginning of their mind is, well, I guess I'm not a leader because I don't have a following yet. And guess what? None of us are going to have a following until you step up. You've got to be the leader first. And step one of a leader is leading by example. Step one of being a leader is having belief, not only in the business opportunity that you're in, but belief in you. You have to believe in yourself. And the third piece is vision. And vision is nothing more than you sitting down one day. You can maybe at nighttime, you're just sitting back, have a glass of wine, grab a pad of paper, and start writing out where you want to be in 5 years. Write out what your business is going to look like in 5 years, and just take your time and write it out. Because when you start doing that, your creative mind starts going, and all of a sudden you go, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how many people I'm going to have. And as you start fulfilling that little blueprint, that's your vision. So now when you start talking to people, you say, this is what we're going to do over the next 5 years. People follow people with vision. Remember that. It's not how much money you have. It's not the position. It's vision. If you can eloquently, like an artist, paint a picture, a vision of what you're going to create, people will follow. And I'll tell you when I learned this the most. I knew this in my first direct sales company. That made sense to me in my first direct sales company. But where it really hit me, where it was internalized to me, is when we started ACN. Because when we started this company, we borrowed $50,000 US from Robert's dad. All of us were broke. All of us had no money in the bank. I mean, when I tell you we didn't even have enough money to pay ourselves, that $50,000 was eaten up right away. I mean, we literally signed ourselves up in the ACN comp plan, and we had to earn our money just like you earn your money today. And we worked our way up the plan just like you're working your way up the plan. And we did that for the first 5 years of ACN. As a matter of fact, most people that met us in the first 5 years of ACN didn't even know we were the co-founders. They didn't know, because we were on the road, recruiting, getting customers, and doing all the same stuff that you did. We were everybody's upline. But I'm telling you this because in that first 5 years, we kept saying over and over, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And we were very clear-minded. This is what we're going to do. And I remember people, even though we didn't have the money, even though we didn't have the success of the documentation that we have today, right? We didn't have any of that. And people knew we were young. We didn't have a lot of experience either. But every time we said, this is what we're going to do, you know what people did? They jumped on board because they had a fear that we might actually do what we said we were going to do. And they didn't want to miss out. And I remember one guy, his name was Zoran Nedeljkovic. He used to work with me in my first network marketing company. And he showed up to every single meeting. And he was one of these people that never performed. He never did anything. But I always wondered why he was always showing up. He would show up and just do nothing. I'd say, Zoran, I go, you're always here. I mean, now you're very loyal. You're always at every meeting. But why do you come if you're not going to work the opportunity? He goes, oh, you know what? He goes, hanging out with you and your brother. He goes, your vision's so big. He goes, I think you're going to hit one of these days. And I just want to be around when it happens. And I realized that he was so addicted to the vision, he wasn't even doing the work. So vision really is powerful. Vision is powerful. If you have a vision, people will want to follow you, and then the right people will go to work. Not everyone's going to go to work, but the right people are going to go to work, and they're going to be excited to be a part of your vision until they can get a vision of their own. So let me jump into some slides here real quick. Let me share my screen. All right, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my PowerPoint. You guys can see it? Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to just jump right into this. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about is, get this going here. I'm going to talk to you about creating momentum. And the key word here is creating. And the reason why I want to focus on that word is because some of you are going to get into momentum. You're going to have one, maybe 2 or 3 lines that will start to take off. Some of you might be regional directors right now, and you might have a couple RC lines and maybe one RD line, and you've already got momentum in those lines. And that's great. But when I say creating momentum, it's having the power that, anytime, any place, when you're ready, you're going to create a new line. You're going to focus on open line, but you're going to create something brand new from scratch, but you can do it whenever you want. In other words, you have that skill set where you can do it anytime you want. And you always want to be able to do this because this is what gives you the power to grow your business to any level you want. Now, there's a lot of people that don't understand creating momentum. They don't understand that there's an act in doing so. It's very intentional. And the people that don't understand it, they're the ones that get too excited when they have one line take off. Maybe 2 lines will take off, but they never go to the top in ACM because they never start a 3rd line or a 4th line or a 5th line because they're just excited about the 1 or 2 lines that are working, and they bury themselves in those 2 lines and they wonder why they never get ahead. So creating momentum means you're never going to stop creating new business until you're a senior vice president platinum. And even after that, you can create new business over and over and over again if you want to continue to expand your business. So creating momentum is defined in this training as mastering the art of creating new production in your open line. So if you're an RC, you want to create new production in your RC open line. It means if you got an RC somewhere on your 3rd level, that production below that RD's level is great, but you want to focus on what you're producing outside that RC. That's what open line means. Now, the first step in being successful at doing this is you want to learn how to present the ACN opportunity. Now, the key is to learn how to explain it, not sell it. A lot of times when people get into this business for the first time, and they want to get someone interested in the opportunity, you get in what I call a sales approach mode. And that is the wrong mode to be in, because if you're selling opportunity like you're selling a car, it just simply won't work. You've got to back up from that sales mentality when it comes to sharing this opportunity, and you've got to switch into what I call a servant leader mindset. And when we use the word serve, when you're sharing this opportunity with someone and you're the one presenting, the best way for you to serve that person you're talking to is to explain the opportunity, not sell the opportunity. Because the ultimate result is they understand what the opportunity is all about. If you present this opportunity clearly and you take your time and explain it, I promise you more people will want to join because it makes sense. But if you're too busy selling it and you're too busy over promoting it, you might miss the window of getting them to understand it. And if they don't understand it, they're not going to join you. They're not going to go to the next step. So become a servant leader. A servant leader is someone that really takes the time to make sure that they're good at explaining this business opportunity to someone for the very first time. Now, remember, new IBOs should only invite. So if you're in that position where you learn how to present the business, believe me, that puts you in a very powerful spot, because any new IBO that joins your team, you can look at them and say, hey, listen, I'm here to help you. Anyone that you know that you think might be interested in this opportunity, just put them in front of me and I will explain it for you. We could put a PBZ together and I will explain it for you. And when a new person hears that, especially if they're a new IBO, they feel a tremendous amount of relief, because the number one thing that intimidates a brand new person when they join is the feeling that they might have to explain something that they don't know how to explain. So by telling them, look, in the beginning, your job is to just learn. Your job is just to listen. I'll explain it for you. And another thing I'll say about explaining is whenever you're presenting the opportunity, a lot of us use like a 1 through 8 document. I know I've seen some people use a 1 through 10 document. Each one of those boxes that you're explaining to someone has a key point. So whenever you're going through each box, I know that some people, and this is including myself, I've found myself trying to present in the past, and you start running down the hill of promoting or selling, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right. How do I get out of it? But sometimes you kind of catch yourself. You don't feel like you're really doing a good job explaining. And one of the ways I learned how to explain opportunity presentations is I just used the word explain in front of each section that I was going to talk about. And in the beginning, you can actually say the words out loud, but in time, you can say them in your head. But I would say things like, let me explain to you why I think ACN is a great company. And then I'll list out some bullet points. And I said, let me explain to you why let me explain and show you the services that are available through this opportunity. You can go through that. Then you can say, let me explain to you ACN's marketing advantage, and you can go through that. Let me explain to you guys exactly how you get started. Let me explain to you how you earn income. Let me explain. If you have to say that phrase in front of everything you're about to say just to keep you on track to explaining it, then you always will be in a position where you're serving that other individual. Because can you imagine if somebody looked at you and said, hey, you know what? I don't really like what I see. I don't really like, network marketing. I don't really like services, whatever they might say, right? If to say was somebody who was negative, but you can always just kind of lean back and say, well, you know what? Hey, no problem with me. I'm just here to help. I'm just here to explain it. If you like it, great. If you don't, no big deal. But that puts you in a powerful position because you're not trying to sell anybody. But I'll tell you right now, if you want to be a great presenter, guys, just explain it. Reduce this thing to the ridiculous. Don't think you got to train somebody in every aspect of the business. Make one key point that's powerful in each box. Your job is to explain it and always let them know it's a brief overview. And if they want more information, you'll tell them what the next step is. And believe it or not, this is the same when it comes to training people on how to get started. Training people on getting started is actually, in some cases, easier than explaining the business to somebody brand new, because all we're really doing is training people on how to become an ETL. That's it. So if you can explain, how to qualify for an ETL, if you can explain to somebody the benefit of that, and you can share with them the system that you're using to do it, then anyone can do a quick start training. Any person listening to me right now can do a quick start training. So don't think you have to be this special guru to sit down and do a quick start training. Say, hey, listen, let me show you how you become an ETL. Here's how you qualify. Here's how the cabs work. Here's some bonuses you can earn by achieving it within a certain period of time. So you explain that part of it, and it's simple. Then you go into your system, and here's what we want you to do to be able to plug people in and let us support you in building your business. And you can explain your whole process. So again, explaining, not selling. Okay, also understand sorting. Now, this is an interesting one because it's the first thing taught, but it is truly the hardest thing to learn because it goes against human nature. When sorting, your only job is to separate the interested people from the uninterested people. Think about that for a minute. Nowhere in our training will we teach you to take somebody who's not interested and try to make them interested. It's impossible. It's like saying you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make that horse drink. You can't force the horse to drink. They've got to want to drink. So when we're sharing this opportunity, there are going to be some people that want to do this. It's going to make sense to them. And there are going to be some people that are either confused or have questions. And maybe there's another group that just doesn't want to be a part of it. There's nothing wrong with this, guys. That's what sorting means. We're separating the interested people from the uninterested people. So don't argue, debate, convince, or try to change someone's mind. Because if you do that, then you're going to irritate people. And I'll tell you the biggest thing in irritating people, why it will work against you. People you know will know other people you know. And if you make somebody feel bad, if you make somebody feel like an idiot, or you tell them they're stupid for not joining, right, they might take personal offense to that. And now they're going to go behind your back and talk to some other people that you know and say, oh, by the way, has Mike Cupisz called you about that phone thing, business opportunity with health? And people are going to go, no, well, look out, he's coming and he's going to talk to you. And then all of a sudden you find yourself approaching people and inviting into the opportunity meeting, and people kind of are resisting you and you don't even know why. And the reason is because there's some negative talk going behind your back. Do you want to create that type of atmosphere within the people that you know? And the answer is no. So don't argue, don't debate, don't convince or try to change somebody's mind. Just accept their answer. When you're sorting, your only job is to, and I'm going to say it again, separate the interested people from the uninterested people, and thank everyone and be grateful for everyone at least looking. That's how you got to be. If somebody looked at you flat out and said, no, I'm not interested, you look right back at them and say, you know what, I really appreciate you giving me the time. I can't tell you how much I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I'll let you know whether it goes well or not, but thank you for at least sitting down with me. I appreciate it. Now, if you treat people good, that person can become a potential customer for you down the road. But more importantly, sometimes when people say no today, it only means no today, and it could be means yes for tomorrow. But the ones that will never say yes are the ones who will cut off their nose to spite their face because you irritated them. So our job is to sort. It goes against human nature. Nobody likes rejection. Nobody wants to hear their mother say no to becoming a customer. Nobody wants to hear their best friend say they're stupid for joining something like this and they would never do it. Do not take it personal. Just be excited, be grateful, be thankful, be fun. And I promise you, that's going to be a law of attraction that will be undeniable for every single person listening right now. So remember, successful IBOs understand that you cannot say the right thing to the wrong person, and you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. And because it's timing, not talent, that's what determines whether somebody will be interested in ACN or not. So focus on warm market. It is the most effective way to create momentum. And the reason for that is because there is some level of trust when people know people. Now, we all know that some people are best friends. Some people are, family members, and that could be some of the closest ties of what we call warm market. But then it might be people that you work with or you went to school with that you're not really tight with, but you guys know each other. You say hi to each other today. Maybe you have a cup of coffee with each other once in a while. And then there's people that are kind of acquaintances that you know them, they know you. They're kind of the outer circles of your friends. But in all reality, all those groups are considered to be warm market, because if someone knows you, there's going to be some element of trust when someone's listening to what you have to share. Now, I'm going to show you why that's important. Okay. When you're looking at warm markets, there's two types of warm markets. There's yours and someone else's. So we all know that all of us have a circle of people that we know, but you're not limited to building within your own warm market. When we say warm markets, it doesn't have to be yours. You can actually recruit a cold market person into your business. You could actually recruit someone you don't know. We all find ourselves in those circumstances where maybe you're at the fitness center or at a restaurant and you strike up a conversation with someone and they say, what do you do? And you kind of deliver a little bit about what we do. And then they say, I'd like to learn more. And now you find yourself sitting down or doing a Zoom or just meeting with someone and you're sharing the opportunity and they're a stranger. That's cold market. But believe it or not, that cold market person, they have warm market too. And the goal is to attack that warm market. And as long as you're always focused at warm markets one way or another, it's going to serve you very well. Now, if you're a new IBO and you were taught right, and you're just getting started, maybe in your first day or first week, you were told to think about who you know. We'll call that a prospect for now. You think about who you know. Who would be on your list of people to share this opportunity with? And your only job is to invite them to look at the business. Your job isn't to explain it. Your job isn't to answer questions. Your job is to simply invite. And after you invite, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to put them in front of an expert. And when we talk about the word expert, it's a person that maybe is supporting you, helping you, doing the meeting for you. Maybe they're doing a Zoom for you. Your job is to put your prospect on a Zoom in front of that expert. And the only other job you have is to edify that expert. And all that means is to build up their credibility. And how do you build up somebody's credibility? You have to answer a simple question. The question that prospect has in their mind, they're not going to verbalize it to you, but it's in their mind. They're saying, why should I listen to expert? Why should I listen to this person? So the word edification means you're just going to educate them on why they should listen. You could say, oh, by the way, I'll call prospect John. You say, John, listen, you're going to be in front of Melissa. And Melissa is going to explain this business. She's going out of her way to help me. She just hit the position of executive team leader in ACN. She's one of the people growing the market out here. And she's really just doing me a favor and helping me explain this to you because I'm just learning about it too. If you have any questions, she can answer those questions for you. And if you like what you see, she'll tell you what the next step is. So think about what I just did. If I throw that in the mix, it makes this presentation more effective because I built respect for Melissa. So whenever you have presentations where you combine trust and respect, that's when the presentations are most effective. Now, earlier when I said, you as a new IBO, sooner or later, you're not going to want to just be a new IBO anymore. You might be 2 weeks into your business. You might be a month into your business, but you're sitting back now thinking, I'm ready to step up. I want to become the expert, just like Melissa. You might be an ETL yourself now, but all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, if I'm going to be the expert, what does that mean? All that means is you're now willing to do presentations for other people. That's it. As soon as you step up and say, I'm going to do presentations for other people, you are now considered an expert. Don't worry about how much money you're making. Don't worry about the position that you have. Only understand that you are now willing to do presentations for other people. That's what makes you an expert, because you made that decision. You're no longer dependent on someone else. You've made a decision to be independent, and I'm going to go out and do presentations no matter how good I am, no matter how bad I am. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do them because I know in time I'll be good at it. So when presenting, the most valuable thing a person can offer you, this is what leaders understand, is their warm market contacts. I'm showing this to you for a reason, because let's say you're the expert and you randomly spoke to a cold market prospect. You piqued their interest, and they met with you and had a cup of coffee with you at Starbucks. You explained the business, or maybe you jumped on a Zoom and you explained the business, but they liked what they seen, right? There's no trust between you and that prospect. So one of the things I learned early on, especially if you're dealing with cold market, is don't make a prospect who doesn't know you and doesn't trust you uncomfortable. And here's what I find makes a new prospect uncomfortable. Sometimes they don't know you and you start trying to close them to pay the fee to join ACN, or you try to close them to become a customer. And you kind of push them before they really are ready to be pushed. And because they don't know you, they don't trust you, they probably will run from you. They might be the person that doesn't call you back the next day or the next week, and you're wondering why, and it's because you made them uncomfortable. One of the things that I learned about cold market, especially if there's no trust, don't worry about all that stuff. The most important thing you can do is, knowing that there's no trust with cold market, just tap into their warm market as soon as you possibly can. And how do you do that? You say, who do you know? Now imagine this. They sat through their very first presentation. And when the presentation is over, they say, I like what I see. It looks good. And all of a sudden you look at them and say, well, listen, I want you to think about who you know that might be interested in doing something like this, because here's what I'm willing to do for you. I'm willing to present and explain this business to anyone you know. And if somebody's willing to sign up, I will not only answer their questions, but I will train them on getting started. So I don't want to sit here and tell you how it's going to work. I'd rather show you how it's going to work. And here's how I'm going to show you. I want you to think about who you know. And if you could put one person in front of me, maybe 2 or 3, it doesn't matter, within the next 24 hours, Let me explain the business to them just like I explained it to you. And if they're interested, that might be a signal that you should sign up. If they're not interested, maybe it's a signal you shouldn't sign up. And believe it or not, by saying something like that, even a cold market prospect who doesn't know you or trust you will probably make some phone calls because they're thinking, I've got nothing to risk. I've got nothing to risk. And the quicker that person puts someone in front of you, the better. And here's why. Those people they're putting in front of you is their warm market contacts. There's trust between them and their warm market contacts. Because you're the presenter, you automatically get their respect. Again, presentations are most effective in combining trust and respect. So obviously, if we know people, we can approach them a little different. Sometimes if we're really close to them, we can say everything and do everything wrong, but we'll still be effective on getting a good result. But if it's cold market, just get to their warm market as quick as you possibly can. Remember, leaders focus. Okay, it is to get as many people as possible to look at the opportunity. That's it. I call it eyes on the business. How many eyes can I get on the business? You know, every single day, because I don't care who says yes. I don't care who says no. I don't care who has questions, but I do know that if I put a lot of people in front of the opportunity, there's going to be a high percentage that are going to sign up. There's going to be also a percentage of people who will become customers. And of course, there'll be a percentage that won't join. Who cares? But the more that are looking, the more potential I have for signing people up. So it's all about who they know. I want to tap into that more than anything else. So every month, if you really want to be good, you want to set what I call an open line goal. And I say every month, but it doesn't have to be every month. It just means when you get into what I call phase one mode. So let's say September, you say, okay, September, I'm going to get into phase one. That means you got to identify one key person and start building from there because it's a brand new line. So for my example, I always used to put the number 20. So let's call it 20 open line CQs, just for my example. I'm going to show you how to do this rather quickly. So here's you. You decide to become the expert. You've got a contact. Let's just say for my example, it was a cold market contact. You met this person, you know, just at the fitness center. You saw them working out. They've spotted you a few times. You spotted them. And all of a sudden, a random conversation started. You sat down. You explained the business. And the good news was they looked at it just like you intended them to look at it. And remember, they could say yes. They could say maybe, and they could say no. Who cares, right? We just don't care. But let's say this person said, I really like what I see. Okay, then you get into who do you know mode. Now, let's say this person started thinking about who they know. The one thing you have to remember, because you want to be effective at your job, right? You want to be an effective presenter. Effective presenters understand that most people, not everyone, but most people could invite up to 3 people to look at this opportunity with no recruiting skills whatsoever. That means they might talk to their sister. They might talk to their best friend. They might talk to a coworker that they collaborate with all the time. They might talk to their parents. But most people could probably invite 1, 2, or 3 people to look at this opportunity with no recruiting skills whatsoever. It would be just based on the relationship alone. Now, why is that important? Because if you want to hit the number of 20 recruits, I'm going to show you how to do it the smart way, not the hard way. Because I'll tell you right now, the hard way is you trying to get 20 people yourself. That's next to impossible. The second hardest way is for you to recruit 1 person and try to force them to get 20 people into the business. That's also very difficult and very hard to do. But here's how you get to 20 people, by understanding this concept. Most people can invite up to 3 people to look at this opportunity with no recruiting skills whatsoever. So you've got this person here, they're interested. You basically say to them, who do you know? Put some people in front of me and I'll explain the business. And this person here puts 3 people in front of you. It could be 1 PBZ, or it might be 3 separate individual Zoom calls or meeting calls, whatever. This person puts you in front of 3 people. What's your job? Those people, just to look at the business. Don't worry about who says yes or no. Don't worry about who says maybe. But you want to say to them, who do you know? This person might know 2. This person might know 2. This person might know 1. What do we get those people to do? Just look at the business. And we're moving, guys. This is how you create momentum. You're creating a lot of energy. You're creating a lot of excitement. This person knows someone who brought a friend. This person knows 2. 1, 2. What do we do with these people? Get them to look at the business. This person brings in 2. This person introduces 1. This person brings in 2. What do? We get them to look at the business. Guys, you can do this in 7 days, believe it or not. You can do this in 7 days. And in my example here, not one person, not one here, brought in 3 people except the first contact. That's it. Everyone else only brought in 1 or a maximum of 2. But look how quickly you get to 20. That's 20 people looking at the business. Now, there's no guarantee in this example that everyone's going to sign up, but here's what typically happens. When you're creating something like this and there's a sense of urgency in you doing it, there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of excitement. While everybody is looking at the business, all of a sudden people are going to see things happening. They're going to see things growing, and it's going to create a lot of enthusiasm. And this is where momentum happens, because when creating momentum, experienced leaders define momentum as a growing number of open line CQs every month, which means they're actually counting the number of CQs, which is good. But you got to remember, a new IBO defines momentum as something a little different because they don't understand it yet. They just look at the number of people looking at the opportunity. So the more people that you have looking at the opportunity for a new person gets them excited. When that excitement is brewing, people start signing up. You don't even have to ask people. They're going to call you and say, I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to get started. I'm going to become a customer. I want to get qualified. I want to become an ETL. It's going to happen. It's like putting a bunch of little broken branches underneath a big log, and you light the fire underneath the branches, and it creates the heat going up. And all of a sudden you get like an explosion of fire. That's how you create momentum. Creating momentum means creating momentum. Starts with 1, leads to 2 or 3, leads to more than that. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you got a lot of excited people ready to go. So I want you to understand these little concepts because it's going to help you build your business. So obviously you want to promote the ACN system. You want to promote the Rockstar system. After you sort, let the system work for you. Remember, a system is nothing more than a series of events. They always start off with a Zoom presentation. And the next training that's available to them, you always want to promote because it always takes their mind and their business to the next level. But the stair steps is not just for that individual, and it's not just for you. It's about getting a whole team a part of that, because it all goes up to when we all get to the Elevate event. And when we do get to the Elevate event, guys, that's when people's belief really come full circle, because they see the size of the opportunity and what is potentially out there. So let that happen when it happens for the individual. You just got to push people to the next step based on where they're at. Some people, you're just getting them to look at the opportunity. Some people, you're getting them to a leadership training. And then obviously when an Elevate event is approaching, we want to get as many people to the Elevate event as we possibly can. But our business is not hard, guys. Just recruiting is instant. Just remember that. But enrolling people is a process. And ultimately, enrolling is getting people to that system. And when you do that, you're going to find out that the system starts working for you. So remember, leaders make things happen. Everyone else waits for things to happen. Don't be the type of person here that's always sitting back, waiting for someone else to build your business. Let me see if I got one more slide. So we got an Elevate event coming up. We got a QR code there. So if you guys haven't already seen it, I believe most of you have. You can scan that real quick. But the next Elevate event will be in Dallas on the 15th and 16th of March. Guys, if you pre-registered for Orlando, you're going to automatically be pre-registered for the Elevate event in Dallas. But our goal is to just pack the house, get as many people there as we possibly can. And it's really going to change our business in a fantastic way. So let me stop sharing my screen if I didn't already. Hold on, guys.
Good.
Did I stop sharing? Yeah, I did.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not even sure if you saw that last slide I put up, but you guys can see it again. First of all, Melissa, thank you guys for having me. This is just my way of giving you guys just some insight on how I see the business. I'll say this last thing as I wrap up. I remember the feeling of getting started. I remember the feeling of not being in control of my business. There was a time where it just felt like everything around me was just happening, and I didn't really have any control. And as a business owner, I didn't like that feeling when I got to network marketing. But when I started understanding this basic concept, the basic concept of creating momentum, then it put me in maximum control, because what I learned was it's not about how many IBOs you have on your team. It's not even about how many RVPs or SVPs you have on your team. Your long-term success, it's not about that. Your long-term success is about how many people on your team can do what I just showed you. How many people on your team can create momentum any place, anytime, anywhere? Do you have one person on your team right now that can do that? Do you have 2 people on your team that can do that? Do you have 5 people on your team that can do that? Do you have 20 people on your team that can do that? That's where leadership training comes in, guys. Leadership training is about teaching people how to present, how to train, how to promote. And if you can expand the number of people that can do those 3 things, then your business will expand. Because every morning you wake up, you want to know that you have an army of not people in your organization, but you have an army of producers on your team, an army of leaders on your team, people that can present, train, and promote, and people that can create momentum any place, anywhere, anytime. Whenever they decide to go, they can do it because they understand the concept that I showed you. And I believe in what I'm teaching because what I just shared with you, I could do anywhere in the country. When we started ACN, I'd drive to Atlanta, I'd build a team there. I'd drive to Colorado, build a team there. Go to Seattle, build a team there. Go to Los Angeles, build a team there. Go to Toronto, build a team there. And we would just go literally into markets where we didn't know anybody, and we could build a team instantaneously because we understood creating momentum. We understood that the greatest asset or value of your team is you. If you are willing to present, you are the greatest asset, the greatest value of your team, because you are now fully empowered to grow this thing as big as you want. So thank you guys for having me. I will turn the Zoom back over to Melissa. Thank you for listening to everything I had to share today. Take care, everyone.